What nobody's really saying is the real truth behind the Brown family breakdown. And trust me, it's much worse than you realize. Sitting at the top of it all is Robyn, whose behind the scenes influence over the years has quietly transformed the entire family setup. Her determined effort to keep Meri in the picture wasn't out of love or loyalty. It was about control. In the previous seasons, one could already notice how different the Browns were from other polygamous families. Robyn's own upbringing was dysfunctional. Her father shared time between wives who hardly spoke to each other. The holidays were split. Robyn spent hers days later, after her father had already celebrated with his first wife. When Robyn entered Kody's family, it was evident that she anticipated the same level of distance between sister wives. Although Robyn tends to idealize their Las Vegas experience, referring to it as a beautiful chapter of their life, the three original wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, regard it as the start of the downfall. That is where the breakup began. That is where Robyn started to keep herself and her children isolated, and it's precisely the reason she held on so tightly to Meri. Not because of friendship, but because Meri was the ideal sister wife for Robyn. Meri, rejected by Kody and holding on to remnants of their history, was a pushover for Robyn. She was no threat, kept to herself in her own little corner, and continued to contribute to the common family pool. That kept Robyn in funds and Kody's focus. With no other wives to contend with, Robyn had no competition, and that was precisely what she desired. Being the sole wife meant being the favorite by default. But it never was that easy. Robyn couldn't deal with Christine. There was jealousy. Most think she operated behind the scenes to put a wedge between Christine and Kody. But Janelle was an entirely different animal. Robyn couldn't control her. Janelle always prioritized the family. She didn't play games. She trusted Kody, and when he betrayed her, promising a home that never materialized, her heartache turned to quiet, concentrated anger. Janelle was witty. She could see the deceptions, and she wasn't afraid to speak out. When she asked Kody about his legal divorce from Meri and speedy marriage to Robyn, it brought out Robyn's awkwardness and need for control. Janelle didn't have to call anyone a narcissist. Her statements left it up to the audience to make their own judgment. Even with Kody's justifications, such as presenting Janelle with Christine's house, Janelle remained steadfast in her principles. She even dwelled in an RV on Coyote Pass in order to turn her dream into a reality, while Robyn and Kody had luxuries and comforts. That's what made Janelle's small victories, such as always getting the luggage rack, great successes. She even overcame Meri on the emotional front. Although Meri never posed a threat to Kody, she was constantly a threat to Robyn's self-esteem. And don't forget about the finances. Robyn can think she won Kody, but was he ever worth it? Christine, Janelle, and Meri left, finished with the circus. Robyn, however, appeared fixated on the facade of a large family, but only when convenient, for vacations, for grand announcements, or for the cameras. In real life, though, it was just her, Kody, and her children. The rest, a burden. There was even a plot twist concerning Robyn offering herself up as a surrogate for Meri. But question yourself, was that ever possible? It's probably that Robyn already knew Kody would never go for it. Perhaps it was a cover-up to make themselves appear noble, or a staged story for the camera operators. Either way, it was never happening, and Meri was likely aware of that as well. And now, after all this, Kody is crying foul, whining that the other wives and their grown children won't contribute to raising Robyn's two youngest kids. Come on, why should they? Provide one decent reason why Christine, Janelle, or Meri, or their children should contribute a penny. If they're having troubles, perhaps it's time to sell some of those collections. The knickknacks, artwork, doll stashes, watches, jewelry, and that creepy Denzian village. Don't forget Coyote Pass, most of it paid for out of the family fund, with substantial contributions from Janelle and Meri. Robyn and Kody, they didn't even chip in a dime. The award is scandalous. The ultimate indignity? Christine had to escort her daughter Isabel to major surgery by herself. The doctors were constantly saying, "Your daddy's coming soon." But he never arrived. Christine knew he wasn't coming. What? Christine said it best. She didn't need Kody at all. Isabel did, but he wasn't there. He couldn't even show up for his own daughter's surgery. And yet somehow, we're supposed to feel bad for Kody and Robyn, struggling to raise their two youngest? After everything the OG3 sacrificed, after they drained their own earnings to fund Robyn's lavish lifestyle, they're expected to keep giving? Absolutely not. Let's talk facts. Kody didn't even willingly pay for Isabel's surgery. Christine had to take him to court just to get child support for Truly. That's the kind of father we're dealing with. And while Kody was hoarding money, where did it come from? The older kids, the very kids who carried the show long before Robyn's children entered the picture. Kody practically stole from them, his own children, to bankroll his new life. So who's actually supporting Truly these days? Christine and David, like adults. While Kody prances around like he's the king just because he's Kody Brown, he won't bring Robyn to task for her never-ending shopping binges and strange doll fixation. If cash is short, perhaps begin by auctioning off the doll bunker or that row of timepieces, or Robyn's designer detritus, rather than borrowing from Christine, Janelle, or Meri. That is the same couple, recall, who just took a casual mention of giving jewelry to all the children when residing in a $1 million home. They are able to afford ATVs, pieces of art, and high-end collectibles, but not assistance for their own children? They've isolated Saul and Ari from the rest of the clan, and now they expect everyone else to be at fault for the isolation. It's no accident that Kody and Robyn are outraged with Christine for requesting child support. They didn't anticipate her actually asking for what her daughter needs. The initial 13 children were born in lean times, and yet the majority of them persevered. But Saul and Ari? They've gotten private school, health care, toys, nannies, and constant attention. Robyn's older kids have new cars, designer purses, dance lessons, and probably the guest house. And yet, as Dayton and Aurora enjoy luxury, Christine was in court pleading for the necessities for Truly. Savannah received hardly anything during her high school years. Isabel, nothing for her procedure. Most of Kody's sons paid their own way through college. Military service, employment, or assistance from Meri, who paid Leon's tuition. Let's get this straight. The OG children became financially self-sufficient not due to assistance, but despite Kody and Robyn, and these are the same children who used to babysit for Robyn's kids. For nothing. They provided their time, their energy, their youth, and they owe nobody anything back. So when Kody complains about Christine not sharing money from the sale of their home, recall this. Christine paid money for that house. Robyn and Kody don't get to say they assisted with a down payment because it was Christine's name on that house, her labor, her sacrifices. She owes him nothing. Neither do Janelle nor Meri. And certainly, their children owe Kody and Robyn nothing of a relationship based on guilt and financial manipulation. But what's truly disturbing is Kody's behavior in the wake of Garrison's death. He finally sat down with Janelle for the first time since the tragedy, an opportunity, perhaps, to show compassion. Instead, he used it to lash out, to blame, to scream. "You're just yelling at me," he snapped, completely missing the moment, the pain, the grief. Seeing him go after Janelle, a woman who has always been a respecter of his position as a father, was heartbreaking. She has been strong, raised her kids graciously, and ridden out every storm. And yet, Kody greeted her with nothing but malice. Even with the loss of a son, Kody couldn't be humble. No sympathy, no remorse, just pride, just blame. Garrison's death should have broken that pride, should have woken him up. But for Kody, it was just another reason to make everything all about him. It was meant to be an accountability talk, but Kody didn't have any accountability, just blame. And, as always, Robyn reflected him. They've become a toxic twosome, unable to take responsibility for their part in the breakdown of the family. Janelle's seething silence spoke volumes. He's not coming over to my house. I don't care if I never have anything to do with Kody again. That's not anger. That's a line crossed. Whatever transpired at the funeral of Garrison, it destroyed what little goodwill Janelle had remaining. And behind closed doors, rumors have emerged that Kody might have insisted on access to Garrison's fortune, implying he wanted control of his deceased son's money. If that's the case, it's worse than revolting. Make no mistake about it, suicide is a terrible disease. No single person brings it on. But Garrison's suffering didn't come out of thin air. Kody's rejection, his aggression toward Janelle, the only parent who appeared for their son, helped build the isolation. And when Kody appeared on national TV, he didn't mourn. He seethed, he diverted, he blamed. The facade didn't crack, it broke. And what we got to see behind it was creepy. Entitlement, self-pity, and not an ounce of remorse. Let's discuss Kody's so-called fair financial system. He used to say a mother's responsibility is to her children under 18, and only them. But when the conversation came to financially supporting his kids, he made it very clear. As soon as the OG kids graduated from college or were married, they were disowned. Meanwhile, his definition of kids only appeared to include Robyn's. Not Truly, not Isabel, not Savannah, all minors when the family started falling apart. It's obvious Kody thought the original wives would just keep contributing another 10 years to help Robyn's kids. That's not family, that's extortion. And Robyn, forgive us for pretending that she entered into this without pay. She did not. The family took on her debt when she came aboard. Credit cards got paid off, rent, utilities, groceries, and they even got her into a nearly new minivan while the others get around in clunkers. Don't rework history. It's all on tape. And don't forget the $30,000 Robyn supposedly swiped from Preston Jessup's family to pay for Robyn to cover up her secret debts. She was never in trouble. She was calculating. When the move to Flagstaff was proposed, Kody made it sound like it was a shrewd business move. But really, it was to join Dayton in college. Robyn needed to get out of Vegas, and Kody made it sound like a family decision. It wasn't. Then there was that tense moment with Suki, when she pressed Kody about Meri and the college situation. He nearly lost it. Because deep down, he knows the truth. Kody only wants to fund Robyn's kids' futures, not anyone else's. Once child support payments for the OG kids began, Kody suddenly had no funds left for college. But somehow, there's always enough for Saul and Ari's private schools, toys, health coverage, and a nanny. This family has played Kody's rules for years and lost. Being loyal didn't work for Meri. Playing nice with Robyn got Christine banished. Keeping quiet only benefited Robyn. Let's take Meri as an example. She played by the rules. She took in Robyn, even legally divorced Kody, so he could wed her and adopt her children. Meri was the good soldier, the obedient wife. She held on to hope when there was none. And for what? To be humiliated, dismissed, reduced to some pathetic ex in Kody's narrative. I don't really consider myself married to Meri, he said blithely. After sharing decades of life together, cold, heartless, narcissistic, and when it came to the Coyote Pass property dispute, Meri's years of devotion and earnings were dismissed because she had but one child. Again and again, Kody makes up new rules to favor Robyn and only Robyn. Robyn, who has all the advantages: legal wife, emotional access, large house, complete control of budget and funds, and yet continues to break down in tears on camera as if she is the one who lost everything, as if polygamy were her fantasy and not the other wives. But Robyn received it all: the fantasy, the husband, the status, and then had the audacity to portray herself as a victim. And Kody, the guy who poured all the family money into Robyn's universe, her jewelry, her dolls, her pretend life, has the nerve to declare, "I feel like I've been kicked out of my own club." You torched the club, Kody. You revised the rules, depleted the coffers, pushed the rest of us out, and now you're shocked no one will play? Boo. Freaking who? Let's start with reality. There isn't a correct way to be in Kody's family unless your name happens to be Robyn. Meri followed all the rules, obeyed all the guidelines, and was still excluded from the warmth. Even during COVID, when she did everything right to visit Robyn, she was shut out. Robyn employed the other wives as a buffer, the facade of equality while maintaining an arm's length distance. The last surprise? It wasn't Robyn who requested Meri be left out. It was Kody who asked Robyn if Meri could come over. Robyn refused, not due to safety concerns, not due to fairness issues, but because at heart she never wanted Meri there to begin with. There's a moment seared into Sister Wives lore, a moment that illuminated the reality of Kody and Robyn's whole dynamic. It dropped like a hammer. Robyn said that the other wives would be envious if Meri stopped by. That's when it struck. The rules? Never Kody's. They were Robyn's. The family democracy was a sham. Robyn and Kody kept Meri convinced she was part of the group, a player, a participant, an insider. But when it counted, when COVID struck and Meri was isolated and vulnerable, she was not included. Not in the castle, not in their world. Meri was only kept when it suited Robyn, when Kody required Meri's vote, when he required her loyalty. Otherwise, she was discardable. And here's the sour irony. Meri was precisely who Kody instructed Christine to be: the ultimate sister wife, dedicated, sacrificial, reserved. She ticked all the boxes and still ended up being discarded. No wife will ever be good enough for Robyn unless she becomes Robyn, and we all know that's not possible. Kody did not create this family. He manipulated it. Once he got Robyn, the rest was background music. Rather than being truthful, telling them, "I loved my wives, but when Robyn showed up, I wanted monogamy," he used them like chess pieces, creating drama, relocating pawns, deflecting responsibility. And Robyn? She wasn't along for the ride. She employed her bond with Meri to pull strings she couldn't with Janelle or Christine. That friendship wasn't love. It was manipulation, control over emotions. But why string Meri along if Kody didn't want her? The truth's bitter, but probably accurate. The money from the show. When the family broke apart, the check didn't combine. It split. Having Meri around meant having dollars within grasp. So, what was the moment that finally ended their marriage for good then? Season 6, Episode 8, The Canyon Hike. Meri and Kody were set to make a decision about whether they'd attempt having another child. Meri, hesitant for so long, had made up her mind that she wanted to try IVF, or at least fertility testing. She was afraid but hopeful. But before she even got the words out, Kody cut her off. Coldly, no encouragement, no support, just dismissal. Her expression told it all: shock, heartbreak, betrayal. That was the breaking point. From there issued the emotional withdrawal, the catfishing, the public humiliation. Yes, they had problems prior. About this, however, was the last straw. This was when Meri probably wondered, does he even want me anymore? Kody once praised Meri's loyalty, comparing her to a dog, of all things, and said that's what drew him to her. But when she was catfished, humiliated, emotionally broken. He abandoned her. He even admitted he was relieved when he found out. Why? Because it gave him the out he wanted. Seeing that canyon scene now is heartbreaking. If Kody had only listened, if he'd at least given a fraction of a care, then their marriage might have made it. But instead, he gaslit her with, "It's your body, your choice," while making it very clear he did not want another child with her. "I'm glad we didn't have more kids," he told her later. And perhaps, in the end, that was a blessing. But what's cruel is that he bugged her into considering IVF, then rejected her once she had agreed. That is Kody's real face, emotional manipulation disguised as empowerment. His rejection wasn't about a baby, it was about control. Meri, weeping under duress by Kody and Leon, made painfully clear how much tension was in their marriage. And Kody? He melted the wedding ring and said to her, "You were bad to me for 10 years, so now I'm going to be bad to you for at least that long." That wasn't a husband. That was emotional abuse. Meri was attempting to do the right thing, questioning whether it was wise to bring a baby into a failing marriage. She did want a child, yes, but not at the expense of continued heartache. And Kody? He ridiculed her tears. "I don't know why this decision is so difficult for you," he said, before dashing her hopes moments later. That canyon scene wasn't just a conversation. It was a collapse, a clear, undeniable fracture in their relationship. The moment when love died and Meri's journey of detachment began. She's not perfect, but she was abandoned, emotionally battered, and spiritually cornered in a belief system that equates a woman's worth to her obedience and fertility. Escaping wasn't a divorce, it was a spiritual uprising. Both Meri and Christine grew up in that cult. Both suffered at the hands of Kody's abuse, and both ultimately broke with themselves. And for it, both deserve every bit of support and respect. Tell me what you're thinking in the comments. Was this the day Meri's marriage really ended? And if so, could anything have stopped it? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the discussion. Love you all. See you in the next one.